Thank you so much. It's so great when initiatives like this happen. And I will just start my short presentation. I hope I can keep it short. I'm a storyteller, so I like to tell stories, but I hope I can make it as fit our schedule for today. So there we have it. My name is CALIN STRAJESCU. I am based in Copenhagen, Denmark. I am a professional photographer, and I've been doing. It started as a passion, but I've been doing this for the past 7 years, I think. And funny enough, like I never wanted to be a photographer. I kid, like it's so surprising. And as a cliche as it is, my parents had a National Geographic magazine. I found it. I think I was about 5 years old. I never had imagined what I could do, but I knew that I wanted to be there. I knew that I wanted to be in those landscapes. I could have been the driver, the chef. I couldn't care less. I just wanted to be there. About 25 years after that, I tried studying architecture and I have a few degrees, but it never fulfilled my need for art or creativity. And I quit school, I went to work, and I was again making money, working my days. And if I could, I would travel, but I would never achieve anything. I would paint, I would watch movies. I had ideas. I would write them down on a notebook, but I would never do anything more than that. And I decided to quit. I didn't have any money saved, um, but I quit anyway. I had a little bit of money, but I didn't have much. I quit anyway. I bought a camera because I never had one. I didn't want to be a photographer again, like nothing to do with what I'm doing now. I bought a camera. I lived outside of Copenhagen in a very small town. People found out that I have a camera. 2 weeks after that, I got my first contract. Surprisingly, from the school that I quit, so that I just um, quit my education. And since then, I decided that I can actually do that. I can follow this story of mine in a way that it makes me comfortable. And I became a little bit of obsessed by it. So I would study. I am a self-taught photographer, so I would study 16 to 17 hours per day home. So I had some money to be home and not be bothered by anyone. I would have my contracts, and eventually I would make good connections, and exhibitions would happen. I tried to improve my skills by going or checking out a university, an art media university, and they said to me, well, within 3 years, maybe you can get a Nat Geo article published. Say 3 years is a bit too much. Like I started this late and I didn't even want to do it. And now I want to do it. And I think 3 years, it's in our skills as human beings, it's way too much. I know it takes time, but if you devote it and you're passionate, you can push it a bit faster than that. So I had my first Nat Geo article published in 2016, just 1 year, 2015, 1 year after I started everything. And since then, I started traveling the world a little bit: India, Norway, Sweden, Morocco, just going around places and people that I would be recommended by to others, of course. And it kicked on going, and luckily for me, I think any artist should do a short introspection in themselves, because achieving all of that, and I had an exhibition even at the Louvre Museum in Paris, and so I became a bit arrogant, and I spotted that just in time, because like National Geographic, like who does this? I didn't have experience. I didn't know how to cope with that. So I decided to to put my job on standby for a little bit. And I started working with concerts, setting up concerts, do the ringing, climbing, etc. And hoping that that would kind of teach me more about what I want to do, but it didn't. So for the past 3 years, I kind of jumped in between photography and concerts, and I decided last year that I should focus more. So I am basically doing, uh, I don't like to put names, but it's to have a general idea. It is location advertising, which means, well, adventure location advertising. So anything related to camping, surf, cars, anything that is outdoors, I would be able to shoot, and I would be hired to do that. And for the past, I think I can share my screen now. Yep. For the past few months, I've been traveling around Denmark, because that's the whole COVID situation. And because of that, again, I had time to think, and that pushed me into a direction I didn't thought I could go before. So I started doing surf photography, and that in itself has a little bit of background story, because I almost drowned twice. And I kind of, I kind of, I would go again in the water, but I wouldn't go too far in. I wouldn't like to be pulled by the current, or I wouldn't trust myself that I am able to keep the balance and not panic. And I think slowly but surely that moment is getting, I'm getting past that. And it's a interesting thing to do, because everything in outdoors has to do with weather, and it's one of the hardest thing to plan, and you can never plan it, you can never predict it, never. I've been on the west coast of Denmark for the past 6 days. 3 days of that it was rain, and before I left, it wasn't like blue skies, everything was nice, the perfect conditions for me to shoot, because I shoot mainly sunset and sunrise. And rain, I mean, yes, great, but it's not what I needed. And the models as well, because when you have projects that involve the other people, you have to take into consideration, or I have taken into considerations, the dangerous aspect of it. Because I've done advertising, and I will go a little bit faster down. When an athlete would have to jump in a not so safe location, but again, we are professionals and we know what we're doing. And I'm sorry, I'm going a bit fast because of the time, but situations like this, where someone has to jump from a cliff to another, it's not easy, especially when it's depending on the weather, and everything is slippery and everything gets done. It looks like it's reckless. Is not. Well, is not. I just we just hire the best people we can, and if something gets uncomfortable, then we stop, and we have all the gear that we need for situations like that: radios, extra safe packs and blankets, and anything that would help us go through a crisis situation or to something unexpected. And it's an interesting journey, but again, it's all dependent on the weather. This was the only kind of clear night in the Alps this December. Again, I was there. It was a very fast shoot for a shoe brand, and we were there for 3 days, and we only had half an hour of clear skies, and we couldn't shoot. and it's not, it doesn't worth for me, for the client. We always have to come back, we always have to find different solutions, we always have to push ourselves differently. And sometimes some clients understand that, and they go with it, and they say it's all right, you know, we know how it is, and maybe you can do it in the spring, or maybe you can do it in the summer or next year, or let's find a different location. But in some situations, you just lose the clients, and it is what it is. I can't make their minds out. I can't decide for them. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. The best part, I would say, for me, is that by now I learned how to choose the people that I want to work with. And it has been so amazingly, in the past year and more than a year, I think, such amazing people. Like it, I can't even, I don't even have words for them to express how amazing they are. And I think my time is up a little bit, but please start with the questions. And if you want to know more, you can find me on Instagram at CALIN STRAJESCU. That's my name. The website is down, because it's easier for me to connect with the clients this way. So if you have any questions, please ask. And thank you so much for being here.
I just have a comment, Colleen. I love your surf photos. They're so different from sort of what I typically see. I'm originally from Hawaii, so I see a lot of surf photography, and I have kids that surf all the time. So they're really nice. They're really interesting and much more intimate, I think.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's again, I work with a lot of people now lately, because I'm actually working on a surf project that would go around the world, and it's so great to connect personally. And I think that's one of my touches and my niche, that I know we live in a world where time is precious, but if I don't have a little bit of time with the athlete or with that person, I can't show how they are. I am good with people, I can read people pretty well, but in some cases I need the extra touch. Let's just go out and have a coffee. I know it's nice to shoot now, but let's just do something else, so I can have that connection with the person, or even with the client. Let's meet twice, three times if we have to, so I can understand truly what you want. And that has been the work until now. And yeah, luckily brands still call, and people still recommend, so I think something comes out nice and good. And yeah, it's a challenge, because again, many times I go out and I shoot maybe 1,500 photos, maybe more, in one evening, and I can only select two out of that, if I can select two. So that's a very wide area to not to come back with an empty hand. And sometimes it's hard to get over that, because again, you're depending, but you learn patience, and you learn to be committed, and you learn to be content with that moment, and just being there. You have a job, but just try to be there and enjoy as much as you can, and pursue the project and the reason why you're there. And yeah, that's at least how I see it, and I would recommend to people to try it. It doesn't matter if it's photography or painting, or anything that makes you happy. You can put heart into that, and it's hard, and it will be challenging for sure. And sometimes you don't want to wake up, and sometimes, nah, tomorrow, but just do it anyway. Just, it doesn't matter. By the end, like in 3 years or 2 or 3 months, or it's gonna worth it. You'll have an interesting life for yourself. You don't need to share it with anyone necessarily, but you'll be happy with what you have. If you go out and walk the dogs in the morning, it doesn't, just do it passionately and feel happy about the way you see everything around. That's how I try to do, and how I taught myself to see colors. I think I see a little bit more colors than most people because I train my eyes to see that, and tints and different shadows. But just try to experience life because we're here and that's what we got.